Yo, guys, what's up? And welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 115. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zeberwolf. We're going to be talking about Loki episode 3. We're going to be talking about Gen V episode 6. Might throw in a bit of Spider Man talk because the new game came out this week, and any other nerdy news in between. If you're new to the channel, make sure you drop a subscribe, leave a like on the video, let us know in the comments if you're watching a replay, and if you're listening to us on Spotify, pop over to the YouTube and let us know what you think in the comments below. Here we go, dude. Alex, how are you, bro?
Hey, Finto, how you doing?
I'm good. I got a little bit distracted during that intro there because when I pressed live, it looked a bit different to me. I don't know if they've upgraded this software or something. I got kind of scared. I was like, oh god, I hope I'm live. I was like, I better keep talking just in case. How are you, dude? How was your week?
Week's been good. Doing some good stuff for work. Got a lot of we finally figured out what to do with that one issue that we had, and we were like,
Yeah.
just upgrade the nodes. Just do it. Upgrade the stuff. It's gonna cost a little bit more per year, but fuck it. And
Yeah.
it fixed everything. And it's like, man, it's amazing how we try so hard to save money, and then it's like we can't save money. We have to spend money to fix this so that we can save money.
That's how it goes. Yeah, I had a short working week this week. I took Friday off to play the new Spider-Man game. I know I'm a grown man, but I don't care. I took the
Oh,
time
dude,
off.
I
It had
took
to
a
be
whole
done.
week. I took a whole week one time for I don't remember which game it was, but I took a whole fucking week off. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care either. It was worth it. I saw this meme online and it was just like, um, driving my mom's car to go pick up Spider-Man 2. I've got like beers in the fridge and my friends are coming over. And then it's like, I'm 35 years old. I said that to my girlfriend and it was just like, this is so accurate to me. It's not even funny right now.
Oh yeah, man. I
Oh, dude, it
mean,
was so good.
back then the memes would be like, yeah, you're gonna take some time off so you could play multiplayer games with the boys.
Yeah,
You play COD or something like that.
yeah,
Nowadays, it's like you take the time off to play a single player game. You're like, I'm ready to do this shit on my own, do my
yeah.
own thing, fucking go hard on it.
Well, the way I look at it now is like kind of if I buy a game and like I boot up the stream and like friends come in and we all kind of hang out and watch it. That's kind of the equivalent today
Oh yeah.
of people kind of like doing LAN parties and doing sleepovers and all that sort of stuff when you were younger. That's the way I look at it. So I was kind of laughing like the 2023 version or like the grown up version of me like having my friends over is me booting up the stream and streaming for the whole day and night. Like it was actually crazy. Like I ended up doing so I took the day off. I went up at like 9 a.m. to pick up the game.
Hmm.
I was kind of freaking out a little bit because I ordered it for collection because I didn't want to rely on it being delivered to my house and arriving late because that happened to me once or twice where like a game didn't arrive to my house on release day and I was raging because I always obviously want to like boot it up straight away and stream it. So I said to myself with this one, I was like, this one's important to me. So I was like, I'm going to go and collect the game day one and then at least I know it's in my possession on day one, and I'm able to just kind of kick it off straight away.
Oh
And
yeah.
I went to I didn't get a text, and it was like the day before, and a few of my friends, like a few of my IRL friends that I have on Facebook and stuff, were like putting up pictures of like their deliveries, and they were getting the game delivered the day before it released. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I might have got it today. I was like, look, whatever. Didn't take the chance. I was like, fine. So
Oh yeah.
I was like trying to like get in touch with their like because I was like checking my emails, no emails, and like usually they say that you'll get an email or a text message just to say that it's ready for collection. So I was actually the place where I ordered it from was right beside my gym. So on Thursday night I went up. I was going to the gym, so I was like, I'm gonna knock into the shop beforehand.
Mm. Oh, did Finto disappear? Oh my goodness. It's the Marvelous Chap Show. Hello, it's the Marvelous. I guess we'll be waiting for him to come back.
Hello, bro. I'm so sorry. So basically, what happened there was, so I do this thing sometimes where like if I'm not gaming for a couple of days, I'll like I have like a kill switch for my room so I can save power. So I switch off and it like kills my computer and stuff. But when I do that, sometimes it doesn't like the CMOS battery obviously clears, so I have to reset my time. So I think what happened there was like my Windows clock was resetting. and it must have changed the time and booted me out of the stream.
Oh, that's fine. I gave a little jingle as we were waiting for you. Again, again, he does it. Oh my goodness! All right, well, hold on for a second, folks. It's the Marvelous Chats. It's the Marvelous Chats. Let's go. It's the Marvelous Chats. We're waiting for Finto because he killed his Switch. I can't remember what he said because it was so quick. Oh god, I was about to sneeze there. But anyways, so for those of you who are wondering, it sounds like Finto was waiting for his product. Thought he wasn't going to get it on time. He managed to get it on time, and he's been playing it early as fuck in the morning. And for 9 a.m. for him, it is actually like that's 10 hours ahead of what I'm at. Hey, Finto,
Can you hear
you
me?
there? Yeah, I can hear you now.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear. Oh my goodness, there's some behind the scenes stuff. But anyway, so yeah, Finto started playing at like 9 a.m., which is like 10 hours behind, which is like, I don't know. I think I remember seeing him at like
Can you hear me? Hello?
midnight. Hey, Finto, can you hear me?
Dude, I'm so sorry. I can't hear you. I'm gonna just restart my computer. Give me just 1 minute. This is ridiculous.
Oh, oh boy. But anyway, so like I saw a picture of his of like when he got it, when he picked it up. What was funny is like he picked it up and he put it in the car. It's like in the little car seat, and I'm like, oh my god, that's his baby right there. He's gonna take his baby home. And I know he's been playing it, but like I haven't taken a look at anybody like actually playing the game yet. So I'm kind of in the dark. So but if he wants to talk about it a bit later, that's fine. Like I'm totally happy about that because I like to hear when people are excited about things. That's one of my favorite things when it comes to video games, like people in video games, is that when you basically play a game that you're like super excited about, I really want to watch you play it. And if it's a game that I'm really excited about, I still kind of really want to watch someone play it. Excuse me. But yeah, we're currently waiting for Finto to come back. For some reason, his audio came undone, so hopefully he gets back soon. Um, but yeah, so for me, I've just been playing like a bunch of Diablo 4. The new season just came in, Season of Blood. It was pretty good. It's pretty good so far, pretty good. It's not like completely fixing everything in Diablo, but at the very least, it's a lot more fun than it was previously due to the fact that like leveling is much better. You like the things that you can collect for the season is much easier to collect. It's not like this thing where you have to go into different areas of like malignant tunnels, which are like kind of cellar type areas, and then just flat out like do that, get out, and then go back in. It's like a rinse repeat kind of situation. It's still a rinse repeat for season 2, but they play it so much like the Hell Tides. So in Hell Tides, when you get to like rank 3 or I think it's like Torment or not Torment. It might be Torment. It essentially means like you can now run Hell Tides, which happen like every hour and 15 minutes, and then they run for about an hour. And so like when you actually like do the Season of Blood every single hour, there's a uh there's like a vampire section going on. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like this green section. It's got 3 things you can do, and those 3 things get you exactly 10 points for your whispers, for your like tree of whisper stuff. And so like you're able to just do those 3 things, go turn in, do those 3 things, go turn in every hour, every fucking hour. And so like it basically speeds up the process of you getting your levels up like incredibly fast. Like I'm already level 50. It only took me about a day. And I know for the sweaty people, it took them like a day just to get to level 100, but I don't care about that. Have I seen Mashal Magic and Muscle? I have watched the first episode. But the thing about that is I've been like jumping around every other show like here and there. So when it comes to like Mashal, I'm like, oh man, it seems pretty interesting. This guy who trains like incredibly hard because he's like a very very strong character. He's like got like he's just fucking jacked. He's just ripped. And his apparently he doesn't have like his scarring show indicating that he has any sort of magic affliction or some sort of like attunement. And so like essentially he I guess in the first episode it turns out like he's kind of like immune to some of the magics, which is kind of cool. Ooh, is Finto back? Can you hear me, sir?
Please, God. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Planet Earth, come in. Holy shit, bro. Man, I had to just completely reboot my computer and I went to restart it and I just had a black screen, no display, so I had to hold down the power button. But anyway,
Oh, gotcha.
fingers crossed. I'm hoping that's it sorted. But yeah, basically my time and date on my computer said yesterday. So obviously when it updated itself, it jumped a day. So I'd say the computer was just like, what the fuck? How's this guy live right now? If it's just he's just jumped into the future. So yeah, fingers crossed we're good now. Sorry about that, bro.
No
Go on, but
worries.
continue what you were talking about. This one
Oh, well,
we're scuffed from the start here.
Andre was just asking if I had watched Mashal. I only watched the first episode. It's interesting. It's not like something that I'm going to be like super excited about. It seems pretty straightforward. Like this guy who doesn't have any magic abilities whatsoever is jacked to the nines. Like he's fucking training so goddamn hard that like he can't even open a door without breaking it.
Okay.
And like by the end of the first episode, it turns out that he's like it from what it looks like he's immune to magic.
Right.
So like even though he's not even though he's a person that can't cast magic, magic doesn't hit him. So like he can't get hurt from magic. So like they send him to the school anyway because they're like, well, we we have to reveal who you are, or you can go to the school and be like the top wizard basically, and you'll save like you and your dad.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, it sounds interesting, and so far it's like the character is very like one dimensional because he's like so monotone. But other than that, like it's interesting. I'll have to take a look into it.
Cool. Cool. I actually just before we kind of go into the Loki and stuff, but I downloaded the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen. But
Nice.
it's the Japanese though, so I'm gonna try and find a dub because as you know me, I'm more of a fan of the dub. But if I can't find a dub, I'll try and stomach it. But I would like to give it for my viewing experience the best view possible, which for me would be the dub. So I'm gonna try and get a dub just because I was looking for like season one, obviously to start at the start, but I could only find the Japanese version, the original version. So I'll
Gotcha.
try. I'll keep trying. I'll keep trying. But yeah. Anyway, what was I saying before I got cut off there? We were talking about Spider-Man, were we?
Yeah. Well, you were talking about acquiring the game.
Yeah, so sorry, yeah. So just to kind of tell the story very quickly because I did start it for anyone who may be interested. But so yeah, I went to the store and the dude was like, I was queuing up to talk to one of the sales reps, but I could see there was a manager and he was kind of like, "You okay there?" And I went over to him and I was just like, "Look, I placed an order for the collector's edition of Spider-Man, and I haven't received any emails, any text messages, nothing like that." I said the game's releasing in a couple of hours. I said, like, I just wanted to check, is it here? Like, am I going to be okay to collect it tomorrow or can I collect it now? And the dude was like, yeah, we have them here. You should get your text soon. And this was like 30 minutes before the store closed. And I was like, any chance I could just take it now? I'm here. I was passing by. I said, I'd just drop in. And he's like, oh, I can't give it to you till tomorrow. And I was like, all right, fair enough. I said, look, I'm off in the morning. I said, what time do you open at? I said, I'll be here for opening. So they were like 9 a.m. And I was like, okay, grand. So I dropped my kid to school, went straight to the store, was there at like 9:05. And there was like a queue of people like going around to the gaming section. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. It felt really like a kind of old school launch day. Like you remember you used to go like to the midnight, like the midnight, like store collections of like the old COD games and stuff like that, like or Halo or something. Like it felt like a real like gaming moment for me. Like it was crazy. And when I went in, there was some dude who was there with his mom. Like he was young enough, but he was buying 3 of the collector's editions. He had them stacked up on the on the desk. I was like, what the
Mhm.
hell? Like that's like $750. Like I was like, that's crazy money that this
It-
dude's spending.
Dude, like I bought like I don't know, I swear I bought like 8 or 10 PS5s.
Wow.
Like if you can make money off of it, why not? I don't have a problem with people doing that. Um, it's kind of it sucks, like it really does because there's a ton of scalpers in the world. But when you're low on cash, by all means, like use your credit card, get that. It's going to be a hot item. Get some money back. Make it so that your product is free. That's usually what I try to do. I try to get it so that it's like a free thing. Like I'll buy
Okay. Yeah. The profits are gonna buy your own version of it.
right. I'll buy
I
my
get.
copy, and if I could double on one, then I'm good. I don't have to buy any more. But I
Mm,
remember buying like PS5s. I was buying PS5s because my friends wanted PS5s, and because a lot of the times they were like, I couldn't get it, and I'm like, well, I have one. So then they'll just pay me the face value for it. They'll just give me that plus the tax and whatnot.
yeah.
And then they'll slip me like a 20, 25. I don't care. That's no big deal.
Yeah.
Um, the like I only really sold two, like Flip 2. I sold one for like I think almost like $900.
Wow.
It was a great deal
This was
because like
around the launch, was it? Like when they were like impossible to get. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I bought two consoles, one for me and one for my girlfriend.
Mhm.
And so like that's why I was like, I really need to make my money back.
Nice, nice. Yeah, like I don't know, like maybe this dude was gonna open one, maybe store one, and then buy one for somebody else in the family or something, or maybe he was gonna try and sell it on. I don't know, but I just thought it was crazy. This dude, like he looked young enough as well, dropping 750 euro on these things was kind of crazy to me. But yeah, basically, like I put a video up on TikTok of me like putting the thing into my car, like strapping it in with a seatbelt, taking it home, and
Oh,
all. Like I was
oh
so
yeah,
chuffed, dude.
I just mentioned
Did you?
that. I mentioned yeah, I mentioned it to the chat. I was like, he's got his little baby in the car. He's gonna take his baby home.
It was so funny because Blakey, who's a dad, was just like he was laughing because he's like, I saw you put it in a booster seat and all, and I was like,
Exactly.
I was like, only dads would pick up on that. I thought that was a funny little touch for anyone who's a dad in the family or in the community. They get it, you know. But yeah, look, dude, look, I played the game. I took the day off. I played the game for like 9 hours. Like my usual working hours, I was kind of live, like streaming it. And then I took like 4 hours off and then I streamed it again. So I did my first ever like double stream in a day. And
Nice.
I'd say I'm about 9 or 10 hours into it. And man, it's honestly, I'd be nitpicking a lot if I was to try and list off some faults with it. But like, to be honest, the game is perfection to me. Like I absolutely love it. So
Good. I'm glad.
but I loved the first two games, so like I knew I was gonna love it. Like there was no way they were gonna fuck it up. Like even if they just made it the exact same as the first one, it was still gonna be amazing. So, and like
Mhm.
the bits I've seen so far have just been mind blowing. Like I've been putting up a couple of shorts and there's a couple of TikToks up there as well if people want to check it out. But like it's like being in a movie. Like it's it's like playing in the perspective of like Peter or Miles, and you're like actually like doing the shit that they do in the film. Like it's fucking crazy, bro. I
Right.
absolutely love it. Can't get enough.
Well, and one of the things about those kind of games is that like there's so much more freedom in my opinion when it comes to making those kind of games, considering the fact that you're actually making a game
Yeah,
rather than just a movie. And so for the limitations of a movie is that you have humans doing human things
yeah,
and that you don't know how much your budget is, or like you do know how much your budget is, and do you really want to put all your budget into the effects, or do you want to put all your budget into the actors? Do you want to put it all
yeah,
into like the dialogue and whatnot? And to be honest, like I would say that put it all into the effects, make it a Power Rangers movie where we don't see the character's face for like the longest fucking time,
mhm,
and then like near the end, like take their mask off so that we could see them and then we could talk to them.
yeah.
Because the the way I've always seen it is that when you're playing Spider-Man, when you're playing Superman, when you're well, not so much Superman because you could see his face. When you're playing like Iron Man, when you're playing any sort of character that just keeps their mask on,
Yeah,
you can essentially put yourself in there.
yeah,
And
100%.
you kind of feel like the superhero in this sense because you're doing what you want to do for that character.
Yeah,
And I think that the strongest point was like maybe Infamous and Infamous 2, where like you can essentially be a good or evil kind of like superhero.
yeah,
And it just it feels so good when you get to control the character. You're not caring about what they look like underneath the mask. You just want to play them. You just want to use their effects. You just want to have fun. And that's something that I really miss about the animated shows.
mm,
But like
sure.
I'm so happy that you're enjoying it, man. And like it's cool to hear that you still have like some things that you're nitpicky about. And those are like little points, but as long as those little points don't like overshadow all the things that you're so happy to play the game for, I'm all
Yeah.
for it.
The only thing I could think of off the top of my head is just there's a mission where you have to play as Mary Jane and you're like sneaking around, and it just kind of brings down the tempo of the game a lot, because like it's so action packed, it's crazy. Like you're flipping
Mhm.
around, you're beating the shit out of people. Like at the point where I'm at, I've like Peter's just gotten the symbiote suit, so he's like overpowered and he's like throwing people around and all. Like, so you go from
Yeah.
that to like basically just sneaking around as MJ, and like she has this little taser and she's trying to take out NPCs and stuff, and you're kind of just like, ugh. Because like in the first game, I like the first two game. Well, maybe not in the second game. I can't remember if he plays anybody else in the Miles game, but anyway, definitely in the first game, you play as MJ like 2 or 3 times, and I used to always dread it coming up because I'm just like, this is just so boring, you know. Because
Mhm.
it's just such a step back because you can't kill anybody. So like it's one of those ones where it's like it's kind of like Splinter Cell or whatever. So like, you know, it's like you have to sneak around, and if you get seen, the mission's failed. You have to start again. So it's just kind of frustrating when you're so kind of like I push forward a lot in the Spider-Man game. So like I'm beating the shit out of everybody. So like even if you get to a part where you're supposed to stealth around as Peter or Miles, I'm still just jumping straight in. I'm like, just bring them all at bring the waves at me. I'll kill them all, you know. So
Right. And
I'm
the
I'm action packed when it comes to it, you know.
Oh, and I totally understand that. And I think that the reason why you're not a fan of that partially is because they don't give you anything to defend yourself in between. So
Mm,
like NJ's not really like a person that can't defend herself. It's just against like supers she can't defend herself.
yeah,
So like why not give her a taser gun? Why not give her something that she can kind of like be like, "Oh shit, I got caught. Here's my like little saving grace for this fight for this moment. Let's not do that again." Like give you a shot at saving yourself so that you can like continue the story.
yeah.
Because if it just gets you caught and then you have to start all the way the fuck over, that's annoying as hell.
There's a lot of save points, so you're not going back to the very start of the mission. But yeah, like it can be annoying.
Yeah.
But that'd be the only thing I'd nitpick with it at it so far. And I'm about 10 hours in. I think I'm only about 18% done with the story, so there's a lot left to go. So I'm very happy with it. Anyway, look, enough game talk for now. I could sit here and talk for hours and hours about gaming, but we're here to talk about Loki. We're here to talk about Gen V. So let's tip into it. This week we had episode 3 of Loki. What did you think? Episode 3. Victor Timely. Miss Minutes
I-
has returned. The
dude,
boys were back in the past. Renslayer. It seemed like a lot happened in this episode. I don't know. Like I kind of when the episode finished for me, I kind of turned to my missus because we always watch it together, and I turned to her and I was just like, that was probably my favorite episode of the series so far. And she was like,
really?
yeah. And like, I don't know why, but she was like, nah, not for me. Like, as in, she preferred the other episodes before it. And I was kind of like, I don't know. Like, for me, it was just like, I felt like stuff was happening in this episode. You know, it felt like the story was progressing. We got to see a Kang variant. You know, I thought it was interesting that we find out that he's like like he's shafting people and he's like a trickster and all this sort of stuff. And, you know, he's like a phony. And then like, you know, Miss Minutes obviously being in it was interesting, and Renslayer as well. And the fact that he like a future version of himself instructed Minutes to bring back the TVA journal to give to him to kind of start the whole butterfly effect to create himself basically. I thought that
Hmm.
was kind of cool because obviously I was wondering that as well. It's like, how does like him dying at the end of time restart everything? But then obviously he has to go, like he sends the book back, which restarts the whole process again. So I thought that was kind of cool that that was explained. But anyway, tell me, what did you think?
Um, absolutely hated it.
Hated it.
Um, yep.
Oh, wow.
I'm Yeah, like that was the lowest point that I've seen of the show so far. I really don't understand how they had such interesting moments during the first and second episode and they brought it to a crawl at the very beginning of the show. Like at the beginning of episode 3, it's a little interesting because it's like, okay, well she starts at this time frame. They figure out that like, okay, so they're essentially like placing the book from the TVA into Victor Timely's hands, which to me is like the bootstrap paradox because then you're essentially giving yourself the book that you like someone else made. So like they kind of fix it in the sense that like, it wasn't you that made it. It was this guy. But if you created the area, then this person had to have been created from you. So like it's still essentially like this weird paradox that you're creating for yourself.
Mhm.
But in the way that the show works and in the way that I think time works in this show is that like it's at any point you place yourself within the time frame, that's just what happens. And the people that affect it create branches. And so like it's really hard to say like exactly what they're trying to do. For all we know, he could be like trying to recreate the loom but create like a higher form of it. It could also be that they're looking for a way to destroy the loom. I think it's best that they just make a larger loom that keeps all those timelines within the sacred timeline, so they're close enough but like far away enough that they're still their own thing, so that you can keep the multiverse, but it just keeps it all in line. Have it break out a little bit later, I don't know, but like eventually we're going to get into a multiversal war, which is going to be kind of interesting. But in regards to the scene where they go and find Victor Timely, I think it took too long. It took way too fucking long, because I don't know what their like directive, or I don't know what the directive was for Jonathan Majors to play this character, but I think it was really fucking dumb that they put it all the way. Like, you're going to play this character who has this type of voice, who speaks this way throughout the entire episode. I would have been much more interested if it was like, this this contraption works this way, and then the time loops, and then we got this, and then it works. And then you go into an area where they're secluded between Renslayer and Victor Timely, and Timely's like, we have to go, we have to get moving. And it's like, oh, this dude's a straight up con man who's trying to make money so that he can fund his objects, which is exactly what he's trying to do. But they make it way too much of this like, I'm poor Mr. Quirrell, like kind of situation from Harry Potter, where it's like, I that's what I wanted.
Do you think he's actually stupid, or do you think, like, is he
No.
pretending to be smart, or do you think he actually is smart and pretending to be stupid?
No, he's smart, but I don't believe he's pretending to be stupid. I think he's just sounding stupid.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like it's just this idea that like if he changes up his act later, that's fine. But I really wanted him to change it up within the episode so that we can feel this moment of like, oh, this dude is deceptive. We have absolutely no idea what he's up to. And so far, like, we haven't seen that. We don't know what he's up to, because everybody's telling him what to do, in the sense. Like, it's to me, it's kind of fucked up. Like, it's one of those moments where like everybody's trying to move him left and right, and like jostle him here and there, when this character is supposed to be like one of the most like prominent characters for this show. And so to portray them as this like poor, misguided or misbegotten kind of character with a speech impediment, they're essentially making it sound like, dude, I'm just a bad, and it's like, okay, I get that the first time, but you need to show us why you're such a threat. It could be, and it's like you said, Finto, it could be a facade. Could be that like he changes his voice later on, but again, I needed it today. I needed it.
I just wonder, is it going to be that he potentially is just an average man, and it's everything that's in the book gives him the knowledge, so it's a butterfly effect sort of thing, like it's like, if he didn't get that book, he wouldn't be who he was. Whereas like, the book just kind of unlocks everything for him. I suppose that's what's kind of interesting.
It's like half interesting for me. Like, I think that's a bit more boring, because if it just repeats itself, it's like, okay, well, we haven't seen this stuff before yet. But how interesting would it be that you have all this stuff in the book and he actually improves upon it? Like, how insane would that be if like he just took a look at it and was like, I'm going to do better, because of the fact that like the time has gone in full circle, but we're in a new generation, similar to what happens in the comics, where you reach the end of time, they start up a new generation, and now we're in the next generation. Because considering the time frame in the comics, I believe we're in generation 8. Like, we're not even in the original first version of Marvel comics. Like, it's been done like 6 or 7 times, and we're in like the most recent one, which to me shows like, okay, they keep trying different things, and things aren't working, and so like they have to break it again and restart from the beginning. And so like, if they explain it that way, I'll be much more intrigued by that, because then it shows like, okay, so that brings this like entire feeling of lore for the show itself that we'll probably never ever get to see, but it would just be amazing to think about.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's missing in terms of all these shows is like there's nothing for us to wonder about what happened in the past, what they've done before, like anything that should be gone. It's all this like here and now kind of shit, which like really bugs me. Um, because that's not what time is about. It's all about like what happened in the past, what happened in the future. And so that's why I think the time slipping was like an important role at the very beginning of the series. And so they kind of like they have it with the tempad because you can go where whichever time, whichever place you want.
Yeah.
But how cool would it have been if Loki was like, I'll be right back. And he just zips and then comes back and he's like, all right, I fixed something. And he's like, what'd you do? And then the memory starts popping in. It's like, oh yeah, you did this. And it's like, did what? And then they go and take a look and Loki did some shit. Like it'd be much more interesting that way because then you have like this perspective of like, oh, Loki can actually be an agent of chaos.
Yeah.
Like because he can fuck with everything now.
Fully
And so
agree.
like,
I said this in
yeah,
episode 1. I think the time slipping should have hung around for a lot longer.
of course. Yeah, 100%. Like because it's such an interesting concept. And like being affected by it and then pulling yourself out and then still having the ability would have been so much cooler.
Yeah.
But in terms of like what happened, like I really don't think that we should have had the chase scene. I think that that was like a bit lackluster to me. I think it was a very like time waster kind of moment. I think we should have just kept moving on. They already had their moment within the fairgrounds where you saw like them chasing them and then they go on the Ferris wheel and then they come back down and then they like why did we have to have them have this moment again where they go into this area where they're trying to just hide for a second and then the dude like knocks on the door and then now Loki and Mobius are trying to like find Victor and Renslayer and then like it just feels like it's a little too much. Like it reached this point of like you guys should have been on the boat to begin with. Like it should have been like, oh, we got to get going. They run off. Sylvie tries to kill them, doesn't kill them, and then they tick off. They go to the boat immediately to skip that fucking scene. That would have saved us what 5 minutes. We would have had 5 more minutes to put into something else, or at least like end the show like a little bit sooner because I think it just needed that speed up point.
Hmm.
The conversation between Renslayer and Victor Timely I think was well done. I think it's very odd that they made Miss Minutes a like an AI that is interested in Victor Timely because we had already like Katie and I sat there and like we're already calling it. She's interested in Victor Timely. She wants to help him because she wants to have her own body so that she could be like in a relationship with basically Kang or one of the Kangs.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's and then like the ending where it's like, do you want to know something? It's gonna make you really mad at him, and it's like I already know what it is, and you might as well have just said it then. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like I know it's not what Disney want, but I think they really like should be like doing like 2 episodes per week. Like these short episodes are really hurting the show, I think. You know, it's just the flow of it like isn't great. Like if you think what was this episode 3? So if you had 1 and 2 last week, 3 and 4 this week, I think it might flow a lot better, more for us to absorb. You know, like I don't know, like I like what else do we like? What else do we talk about? I like you know, there's not a lot. We've kind of covered everything already. We've only been talking about it for 10 minutes. Like you know, it's kind
Right.
of it's crazy. Like
I think what they could have done was not have ridiculous moments where people aren't doing anything productive. Cut that stuff and then add more things that are productive. Like
yeah,
it, you know, we could have had more spectacular moments. We could have had more introspective into like what Victor Timely was working on. We could have had different contraptions that he was trying to show us. We could have had like things that were like actually interesting. So like you know, get rid of the chase scenes, get rid of all the chase scenes. Have Sylvie show up a little bit later, and she's like, and have Sylvie show up at the end of it. Who gives a shit about her like coming up out of nowhere? Like
yeah,
she was already on the move. She already knew where they were going. Okay, have her show up near the end. Get rid of those chase scenes. Add all the contraptions and things he's been working on because he's been reading the book. When we get to his lab, we take a look at everything that's going on because that's what I'm most interested in. what the fuck did he use the book for? Like, what did he try to make, and what things did he succeed at? Because he doesn't have all the materials right now,
Mm.
but he for sure as hell will have the materials later. But like, he's not old enough to do so, or
Yeah,
like his age. He's in an age where it's not like currently viable. So like, being helped by the TVA that already exist is essential for this, which is why I think that it makes sense that they're there. It's essential because they need his brains to make the contraptions.
yeah, for sure. I wonder, like, what, like, I presume like the mission is that they were trying to bring him back because his DNA would help fix the timeline or whatever. But I wonder, do they have to return and then they're going to fail, and then maybe they go back like years from when they first dropped in just to kind of see where he progresses. I'd like to kind of see where that goes. Maybe, like give him 10 years with the book, and then see what he's done in 10 years. Like, is he now
Well,
a threat? You know what I mean? Like, I wonder, will they do stuff like that?
to be completely fair, man, like I would have taken like if we were to do the 2 episode process, or at least have a longer episode for this and get rid of those chase scenes. I would have loved to see him take the book and then just work on things. I would
Yeah,
have loved to see him like, remember when we first saw like Tony Stark in the cave, and he starts working on the Iron Man suit, and he's like taking all these scraps and like stuff and makes a suit of armor. Like,
yeah.
why can't we have that? Why couldn't we have him tinkering
I'd
with
say
things,
that
fucking
will
with
happen in
stuff?
episode 4. I'd say. That's why I'm saying, like, it would have been good if we had episode 3 and 4 together, because I feel like that's coming in episode 4, and it would have been nice to see it all together.
So you're saying like we're gonna get a flashback?
I think so. I think, like, I can't imagine that the guys are just going to go back to the present and then they're just going to leave Victor Timely there with the TVA book. I think they're going to try and go back again to maybe like, try and bring him back again, or maybe just check back in on him and see. Like, I presume they're going to keep an eye on this variant of him now, track him, and make sure he doesn't actually become a bit massive threat. He doesn't feel like a threat now, as you said,
Mhm.
but it's like, you can't just leave him, I suppose. That'd be
Well,
very irresponsible.
I mean, he's still a threat regardless. Like, but I think like what I'm saying is that we shouldn't have the flashback at all anymore. We've already reached the point where it's like I don't care what he did, but beforehand, I wanted to see what he's doing now.
So yeah, so when I say another flashback, I mean, so them going back to the present, but then having to go back again to his Timely's time. You know?
That seemed yeah, but like it seems kind of like it seems kind of like dirty in the sense like it's like not it's not clean. That's not a good way to explain time, because that creates like way more issues with like, well, if they showed up at this time even earlier, then where were they? So like you would
Yeah.
have to see scenes similar to Back to the Future Part 2 actually did a really good job of this, where they went back in time and you actually see Marty doing something while the current Marty is like hiding behind somewhere so that he doesn't get seen, and creates another paradox.
Yeah.
And like, so like the idea behind that was like, yeah, like essentially you are going back, you're trying to fix the things that were changed by Biff, and yourself is still there because yourself didn't change. Like, you don't remove yourself when you go back in time.
Mhm.
You just add another of yourself that's fixing it. And
Yeah.
so like, when that scene with like the very beginning scene with Renslayer and Miss Minutes, when they're like, "Oh, don't get caught." In my head, I'm thinking, "Are don't get caught from what?" Like,
Yeah.
and so I'm at that point, I'm thinking like, wouldn't it have been cool if like Loki and Mobius show up, and then you see Renslayer jump through a door immediately, and they're like, "Has she already been here?" And like, they're like, "Oh fuck!" And so they go to 1893, and then it's already changed.
Yeah. I think the moment where it's like, oh, don't get caught. I think that was just Renslayer saying to Miss Minutes, hide, because these people won't have a clue why there's like a cartoon
Right.
floating thing flying around. Like, you
Right.
know,
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's one thing I understand. What I'm saying is like at the end of that, when they go through the time door
yeah.
and they slip into the next section of the timeline.
Mhm.
So then you have like Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston show up, and then you see her go through the door because then it's like, oh shit, she just left. Like they just figured shit out. So like
Yeah.
Victor Timely has already taken the book and walked away from the window, so they don't see him. So they don't have any indication that he's already got the book.
Yeah.
So like it just kind of like makes a little like sweeten the whole timeline situation and make it look like, okay, so like they show up at times where it's too late, and it makes it look a lot more like aesthetically pleasing, because then it's like, okay, so they're on her tail,
Yeah.
but like, they just fucked up, they didn't make it in time.
Yeah. 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 So do you think like they're gonna stay in that timeline for a while then, rather than be bouncing back and forth? You're just gonna stay there?
No, no, they already left, if you remember.
I
They
don't
left
know.
with and that's the problem, is the
I know.
fact that you forgot.
I know. I know.
It's
I was watching it. I was very tired watching it. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, no, look, it is what it is. Some of the show is quite forgetful for me.
yeah, it's fucked, dude. Like they like Sylvie kicked Renslayer through the time door with, and Miss Minutes followed her, and they went to the end of time, so they see the body
Yep.
of like
Yeah, sorry, I saw that.
of
Yeah, I do remember that, of
yeah,
course. Yeah, and
but
he's all rotted and everything.
right,
Yeah.
but at the same time, Mobius and Loki have already taken Victor Timely to the TVA.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I must have forgotten that bit at the end.
Yeah, so
I
like
should have refreshed should have refreshed it before we went live.
So I guess like what I'm saying now is like, unless they do something insane for episode 4, it's going to drop down for me. And I know that the majority of the normal people watching this are going to be like, "Oh, that's so cool. They took him from the parent and brought him over here." But it's like, I need something more, dude. I need revelations. I need things to pop in. I need things to be like realized, like, holy shit, he's been working us this whole time. And I know we're gonna get to that point eventually, but it's reaching a point where like I'm eventually not gonna care.
Yeah.
Because there's no deception that I've seen so far, besides the fact that Miss Minutes wants to fuck He Who Remains, which
Yeah,
is
it's
fucking
weird.
weird.
Very weird. Very weird. Do you think Miss Minutes will get a body?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. She's gonna get a body. Like they're gonna figure it out. She's gonna get a body, and then we're gonna have her being all crazy. And, oh, man, how awesome would it be if it was Tara Strong?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh shit, Tara. All right,
Download the AI kind of thoughts into Tara's body, and then it's just Tara walking around. It would work.
because she's the actual voice of Miss
Yeah.
Minutes,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's
I
like,
know. Yeah. Yeah. It would
fucking,
work. It would work. And then like she's in Deadpool 3. You know.
yeah, that would be sick, dude. Like I would love that.
Yeah, that'd be kind of sick.
I love Tara Strong. Tara Strong's a fantastic voice actress.
She is. She's brilliant.
She does Harley, doesn't she?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She was like the Harley in like the Arkham games and stuff like that. She'd be like what I would consider the Harley, like kind of the way I considered
Oh yeah, Mark Hamill.
Kevin Conroy, the Batman, and Mark
Yeah.
Hamill, the Joker. Like yeah, like when I'm reading comics, I'm reading it in all their voices. That's the in my head the way I see it. You know.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love like Ledger as Joker as well, but Mark Hamill is kind of my favorite Joker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No, he's the best. Like Tara Strong, Mark Hamill, great duo for those characters.
Yeah, and Kevin Conroy as well. Like just that's like the dream team right there.
Yeah.
Speaking about Mark Hamill, actually, I finished watching the new show, the Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix, the new Mike Flanagan one. Did you hear about this?
I've seen like the title card, but I haven't
Yeah.
like watched the show.
Check it out, bro. It's very good. Very good. It's kind of like, this Mike Flanagan fella, he's like a horror director. He's done like stuff like Haunting of House Hill or whatever, and the Bly Manor show. He's done a bunch of stuff, and what was the other one? Midnight Mass. Like he's done a few kind of like horror style shows for Netflix, and he's like a horror director as well. Like he did Doctor Sleep and stuff like that. He's done some really good stuff, but I think this show could be my favorite of the shows that he's done now. And like because the acting's incredible in it. Mark Hamill's in it. He plays a lawyer, and he is just absolutely fucking brilliant in it. Like seriously, like, and it's not just because he's Luke Skywalker and I'm fucking fanboying over Luke Skywalker, but genuinely, you look at him in it and you kind of think if you didn't know it was Mark Hamill, it might slip past you. Like, he looks very different. He's got a goatee and he's the grey short hair. He's got like his hairstyle and he's always wearing hats and stuff and glasses. Like, he doesn't look like Mark Hamill. Like, it's crazy. But the show is just so good. Like, there's these like speeches that happen throughout the show. Like, whoever wrote the script is just a fucking genius.
Mhm.
Like there's these dialogue scenes that are just, you're sitting back going, whoa, like this is fucking mind blowing stuff. It's really, really good. Yeah, highly recommend. Check it out.
Definitely check it out. I remember seeing the title card and I just looked over at Katie. I'm like, Usher, like the singer? Like
Yeah. Yeah. So the old Edgar Allan Poe, The Raven kind of poem or whatever,
Yeah.
Nevermore, Nevermore. It's kind of like a modern take of that. With like a kind of like a modern twist on it where like the family are all kind of they're like a farmer family, so it's kind of like an Oxycontin kind of twist to it. So which is like
Oh.
kind of weird because that's very popular at the moment. There's been a few shows about that, but they're kind of like a family like that have created a drug that's killing millions of people, but they're stupid rich, and basically
Mhm.
all the family members, his kids start dying and stuff like that, and there's a big investigation into it. But it's fucking brilliant, man. So good.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really good. And if you're into kind of watching spooky stuff in October, which I am, like I love having some kind of spooky things to watch around this time of the year. Like, so like, I just thought, yeah, perfect time to release something like this.
Well,
'Cause,
I tried Goosebumps. I tried like the new Goosebumps and
yeah, no, that wouldn't be
took
for me now.
I did like 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes at the most. Didn't under like I couldn't get into it. It was really hard for me to like enjoy it. And I think that I got to the part where Justin Long shows up and I'm thinking like maybe I should keep trying or like
Mm,
finish that episode just to see if it's because Justin Long is in it that it might be a good show because I love Justin Long. Justin Long is a fantastic actor and I think he deserves to be in a lot more stuff, but like he's a very like he's a goofball character, but like
yeah,
I've seen him in stuff where it was like okay, this
you
guy's
can
pretty
act.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do check the show out. Let me know next week because I think you and the lady will like it.
Well, you know what's funny is like in terms of shows right now, we're kind of like just stuck on One Piece, but like I just been kind
Take
of
a
like,
break, bro. Take a break.
oh, dude, we have to because I think it's kind of reaching her. Like we've already watched like way longer than what like we agreed upon. So
Yeah,
essentially, like we watched Sons of Anarchy, the entire series of Sons of Anarchy, and then we started One Piece, and
yeah,
we're already like halfway through the show, and I really do owe her at least like a series of something so that we could take a break on it. But like
yeah.
it's
Because
just it's one of sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was doing the same thing with Supernatural. Like, we watched the first 6 seasons, and then like the show is so good for the first 6 seasons that you can't stop. Like, it's just, you have to keep going. It's like it's one of those, you have to like next episode, keep going, keep
Yeah.
going. Season finale, you're like, oh shit, throw on the next one. We have to start the next season, and then it kind of starts slowing down around season 7. And I've like taken a break from it, but I actually only watched an episode before I went live here, so I'm kind of
Mhm.
like drip feeding the rest of it, but it's not at the same pace. And I don't know if One Piece is like that or not, but I find like when you get down to kind of a downfall, like a kind of slow piece, it's nice to kind of branch out and do a few bits and then maybe try and pick it up again.
Oh yeah, but the only reason why I want to like kind of just truck through and finish and get all caught up on One Piece is so that we don't have to do this anymore. We
Yeah,
could
yeah,
just be on a weekly basis, and then we could, and like I like at this point, I feel like I should just promise her like, hey, if we just can truck through the rest of this, get all caught up, I will watch everything that you want to watch for like the rest of next year or something. Like I'll even do that. I don't care.
does she like it? Is she loving it, like, or
Oh,
is
she loves One
she's loving
Piece.
it? Okay.
She's having a great time with it. We just finished an episode where like all these whale characters show up and some of them have like scars on their head and they're like and Katie looks at me and is like, if one of these is not Laboon, I'm fucking out. And it's not. It's like the family that like Laboon is associated with. And so
Gotcha.
you see Brooke and Brooke is like, we'll just a little bit more time, Laboon. And Katie's like, no, go to that fucking whale right now and go tell him that you're alive. Like, because the whale doesn't know he's alive yet. Like, that's one of the coolest things is like you're like close to 100 episodes in. You meet this whale. This whale has been waiting for this crew that said that they would be back. And they all died because it's like 50 years later.
Jesus.
So then you cut to like 200 more episodes in where you're like in the episode 320 something, like almost 350. You meet this skeleton who joins the crew, and then it turns out he's like, I actually can't be part of your crew yet. I need to do something. See, there's this whale I've been dying to go see because we all died. We never got a chance to tell him that tell him what happened. And it's like, oh, you mean Laboon? And he's like, you know Laboon? And it's like, and Katie's like, I'm gonna fucking cry right now. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, and she's like, they need to go back right now. They need to go back. And like the whale doesn't know that he's, and so like it's this whole spiel where like every time they're like, just a little bit longer, Katie's like, no, go back and go to the whale.
Love it.
But like, that's what I love about that show is the fact that it has constant connections.
Yeah.
You don't go 900 episodes in and not hear about things that have happened in East Blue ever since. Like, it's fucking insane, dude. Like, you go, like, if you read the manga right now, you'll find out that they're going to go to Elbaf soon, which is a thing that they talked about in episode like 116 or something like that, where they were on Little Garden. They met two giants who were from Elbaf. They're like, yeah, we'd like to go back home. And then fucking later on, you see those two same giants hanging out with Shanks. And they're like, how about you join my crew? And I'm like, oh my God, these fuckers are too powerful. You're going to have that crew like just absolutely decimating everyone because like you have two of the strongest warriors from Elbaf and and the Straw Hats are going to go to Elbaf. Like we absolutely know they're going to go there. Like, and they haven't talked about it for over 900 episodes and they're finally going to go there.
Crazy.
It's fucking amazing. It's one of the last islands that they have to get to before they reach the end.
Yeah. That's epic.
It's going to be so fucking good, man. Like they are like Egghead Island or like it's just so like Future Island Egghead. It's just so fucking good because it's just nonstop shit going down. Fucking one of the admirals showed up. Fucking like one of the highest forms of like the celestial dragon show up. It's Saint Saturn J Garcia, I think that's what his name. And fucking shows up. He's a goddamn spider looking demon dude with like swords. And he's like, you're all gonna fucking die. And it's like, what the fuck is gonna happen? I'm so fucking stoked for it.
Nice, dude. Nice.
Yeah.
That's epic.
I don't want to get too far into it because I know it's gonna take up all the
yeah, like we're almost at the hour mark, so let's jump into Gen V. Talk to me. Did you watch it?
Yes, I did.
Did you like it?
I thought it was interesting. I think it's another moment where it seems like it's getting slower, but it's like it's interesting stuff. Especially like when they go into her mind and they find out like it's basically if you die in the game, you die for real kind of situation.
Yeah.
And
what film was that? Stay Alive. That came out in like 2006.
Stay Alive? Yeah.
With Frankie Muniz was in it.
Oh my God.
Dude, I loved that movie. That was like a time. There was a time around like the early 2000s, mid 2000s, where like shit movies like that would come out, but they'd be so good. I don't know if it was just the age that I was or whatever, but like Final Destination, all that sort of stuff. But when Stay Alive came out, bro, I loved that film. Because obviously I'm a big gamer, so I was like, oh shit, a horror movie where like if you die in the game, you die in real life. I was like, this is fucking great, dude. Sorry, go on, keep back to.
No, you're good. Like I love that. I love the excitement.
Yeah, I want to watch that movie soon. Like I'm gonna try and get a copy of it. But yeah, hell yeah, dude, you just core memory unlocked. Thank you for that.
To be honest, I never knew where that saying came from. So I don't think I've ever watched the movie. I'll have to check it out.
Oh, do bro, yeah. Do. If I get a copy of it, I'll send it to you because
okay,
it's worth the watch. It's really good. Like it's cheesy as fuck, but I think you'll appreciate it. Obviously, being a gamer.
Oh, dude, we love cheesy here.
Yeah.
Like
you got it.
But anyway, so it's like it's one of those moments where like they can't have her die, otherwise they all stay trapped within her mind and they're just stuck forever. And so I think that's a really interesting concept. I think them learning about her and like why she's the way she is.
Yeah. It was a bit of a redemption arc, right? Like I kind of felt sorry. I felt very sorry for her. I don't hate her. I don't hate her as much. Like I know
she went through a lot of shit.
She did. Yeah. And as somebody with powers like that would, I suppose, like for anybody who hasn't seen the show, basically the girl has the ability when she touches somebody, She can kind of control them, make them do whatever she wants. So she didn't know that she had this power. And when she was very small, she kind of had an argument with her baby brother and said, like, go away and never come back. And she didn't know she had this power, and the kid disappeared forever. And like
Yeah.
heartbreaking stuff. Jesus Christ! Like I have small kids. Like, and could you just imagine if that happened? Like, oh Jesus! Like that
That'd
is
be
just
heartbreaking, man.
terrifying, bro. It's a terrifying concept. So that alone, like just being a father myself, like I just like instantly had like sympathy for her. And then like when we see she kind of ages a couple of years, and then she's locked in her room, and it's like a fucking like bank safe, like a bank vault door, like into her room. And it's just like she's been locked up for 9 years, and you're just thinking, Jesus Christ, this poor girl, like um, yeah, my heart broke for her, like and I know obviously
Yeah.
she's got a lot of kind of trust to be built back up with the team. But I think she probably deserves the second chance. I think, to be honest, and
Oh yeah.
if they can if they can start to trust her and use her, like I think she'd be very powerful. Because obviously, now we know after this episode that she has the power to kind of bring people into her mind. She has the power to, which I suppose you had called it from episode one, but she's able to kind of do this shit wirelessly as well. Like, so, she doesn't have to touch you, which is the scariest part. So
Mhm.
she could just be in the same room as you, and she could be influencing you, which is the scariest thing. So people think that you have to be touched by her. So she's wearing all these gloves to make people feel safe. But now they know, shit, we can just be in the same room as her, and we can all get trapped in her mind. And I loved that whole scene because this whole Soldier Boy got to come back, which was amazing. The thumbnail for this week's episode is Soldier Boy. I love Jensen Ackles, so I knew he was coming. I just didn't know he was going to come like this, and I thought it was a very clever way to bring him in, because in The Boys we don't really know where he is. He's kind of locked up right now, so it's like, is he ever going to return to The Boys? I presume he will, but I thought this was a very clever way of getting him into the show. And just some, like, again, like I know Jensen very well. Like, I've been a fan of him for 15 years, more than 15 years. And
Mhm.
it's just so funny to see him in this role, because it's like very much not really like what anything else he plays. So like when you hear him talking about, like, flicking the skittle and all this sort of stuff, like I'm in tears laughing, dude. Like I just thought it was so funny. He just plays this character so well. It just really, really shines how good of an actor he actually is.
Mhm.
Um, yes, it's fucking great. It's absolutely great. Love it. I'm loving this
Yeah.
show, bro. And as well, this week it got renewed for season 2 as well. It's not even over yet. It's already been renewed for season 2.
Well, then seeing this as more of a spin-off, it makes me wonder, like, is this, I don't know if like this is actually any sort of like comics or anything. I think this might be like an actual original spin-off, but I'll have to do some research on that. Um
I've never read any of the comics. I don't know anything about them. I kind of am staying away from them on purpose, because I feel like if I start digging into the comics now, I'm probably going to ruin a lot of the storyline, which
mhm.
I don't want to do. I want to kind of be I want to be a noob to this world and get the viewing experience, and kind of get fed the story in live action the way that these guys want to portray it, basically. I
Can
don't
I
want. Go on.
I was gonna say, can I at least tell you like what the difference is between like like manga, the comic version and the live version of Hero Gasm was?
Did we talk about this before? Go on, you can tell me. I don't mind. I think we
Uh,
did talk about this before, but go on, refresh my memory.
so like in the live action, we see that like they're just going off and just fucking,
Yeah,
and it's like the secluded area. People like, I don't know if like people know about it other than superheroes,
yeah. It
but
seemed
in
seemed like a very kind of secret society thing in the show. It was like a mansion in a massive plot of land away from society, and very, very kind of Illuminati kind of fucking shit like going on. But
mhm.
yeah, go on,
So
tell me.
in the comics of the best thing about that in the comics is that the heroes, all the supers, basically go, "Hey, we got to go off planet and go fight like this alien race or something. We got to like we have to go. We're gonna be
Big
gone
mission, yeah.
for about a week. We have a big mission. We're not gonna be around. Good luck." In reality, they're going to Hero Gasm.
Love it. Expense it back to seven or whatever, what's the company called again? VAT.
But
Expense it back to VAT. We're going on an orgy.
exactly.
Love it, dude. Love it. Yeah, I heard. So when they renewed the season, I think the showrunners kind of confirmed that by the end of this season of Gen V, it's gonna like properly hand back over to the boys, and then like as in the storyline will synchronize. So then like this season will end, and it'll like kind of handshake into season 4 of the boys, and then the
Mhm.
season 4 of the boys will happen, and then whatever events happen there will kind of like again transfer back to Gen V season 2. So it seems like the two of them are going to be very, very interwoven, very linked, which is great because like we as we've talked about for 115 episodes of a podcast, we love universes and connective tissue and all this sort of stuff, and the fact that these guys are now kind of doing that is great. Like
Mhm.
I'm red in the face from saying that the MCU need to get back to connective tissue and connecting projects together, but I don't know. We'll have to see
I
where it goes.
I think it should just reach this level of like gruesomeness and gore and like a little bit, like even if it has to be a little bit erotic, like fuck it. Like give us give us things that actually happen in the comics to show up on the live action or even show up like in animated shows or something. Like give us something that gives us a reason to want to come back. Give us like shock factor, because that's kind of what the idea behind comics is the shock factor.
Hmm.
You don't go through comics, have a ton of conversation and not have something happen.
Yeah.
So a lot of people refer to the scenes in like Infinity War or Endgame where like this is supposed to happen, this happened in the comics. And you see in the comics, it's much more gruesome, like the whole like Thanos ripping Iron Man in half. And like, there's comics where Hulk is eating people. There's like comics where like somebody's getting torn in half, someone like gets obliterated from the universe, someone like it's not a safe world
Yeah.
with Marvel. Like it really
Yeah.
isn't. It looks like that with the MCU because everything is so neat and tightly packaged. Like it's just
Disney.
it's Disney. And they don't care because excuse me. And they don't care because they essentially just want to make the content and then shove out a fucking line of toys, because that's probably where they're getting the majority of their money.
Hmm.
Is if they showcase these characters and then you have at least a good amount of people that are like, "Oh man, I would love that kind of thing as an action figure." They're going to go buy it for their kids. They're going to go buy it like, for their sons and daughters. They're going to buy like, and then there's like all these Lego things that you could pick up. Like there's so many different things that you can do because you've introduced it into the world and now it's just a thing.
Yeah. Oh, bro, like some of these Lego sets, like my son's like crazy into Lego, and like sometimes he'll be like, "Oh, can I get this one or whatever?" And you look at the price tags on some of these things, and there was like I saw like a Batmobile in one of the toy shops, and it was like fucking like 150 euro. I was like, "What the?" I was like, "No, you're not having this." What I mean? I'm like, "No, thank you." Like it's insane, bro. It's insane. So yeah, like
Yeah.
merch is obviously a massive thing, and it's always kind of George Lucas talks about like how it was the best thing that he ever did when he kind of creating Lucasfilm and stuff like that. Like one of the big stipulations was that he kept all the rights to the merchandise, and
Mhm.
that's what made him the rich and successful man that he ended up being. Because Star Wars merch was, as you know, like one of the biggest things ever. So the fact that he kept that instead of like selling that to a studio is just huge, like
Oh,
huge.
oh yeah, like you go to Disney and you like go to the what's it called? Galaxy?
Galaxy's
Um
Edge.
Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
And you can make your own lightsaber. You can probably like I'm not sure. Like I have never been there, so I'm assuming like you can buy robes, you can buy hats that have like Yoda ears, you could buy like Mickey ears with like Yoda shit. Like you could buy all kinds of stuff. You could buy Mandalorian shit. And same thing goes for the MCU. Like you can go into a store, you can buy like the Spider-Man like web shooters, you could buy like Black Panther claws, you could buy the Shuri like, sound boosters, like booster gloves, and like it's just all the merch. Like that's all it really is. And I think it's literally what happened in I think Tommy Boy when they're like, what do I need you for? Like all I want to do is buy the logo. I just want to buy the box.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
like that's the whole point. It's like I like all I want is the name. And I think it's really becoming apparent that that's the whole point, is that Disney is just buying things for the names. And hopefully when Deadpool 3 comes out, we kind of get a reset and we get this realization from Disney being like, oh shit, maybe we should not constantly do like safety goggles for everything. Like
Yeah.
let's take a wild ride on it. But then again, it just depends on how many people are old school within Disney, because that's the whole point. Is like all these corporations that have like these old fucks that don't know anything about like the new form of what people want.
Yeah.
The first thing they'll go to is like, I don't care, just make a toy line, do whatever the fuck you want, just make a toy line.
Mhm.
And that's how I see it. I may be wrong. I could be completely fucking wrong, but like that's how I see it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all. Like, it's just corporate greed, like let's sacrifice a storyline to make it PG so we can sell toys to kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We're recording this on the 22nd of October. I hear that in the next couple of days we're going to get the first trailer for the Echo Show. This one I'm interested about for the simple fact that it's going to be very closely linked with the likes of Daredevil and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
like the main villain is going to be Kingpin and stuff like that. So I presume it's going to be more on the kind of mature side of the MCU. So I'm very curious to see what we see in the trailer, what kind of vibe we get. Is it going to be dark? Is it going to be gritty? Is it going to be violent? Like, is this the start of, the mature MCU stuff? Because like Deadpool, I think I heard Deadpool is getting delayed this week, which I'm not really surprised about with all the strikes and everything. It only makes sense.
Mhm.
Hopefully, it's not going to get delayed by too much. I haven't seen any of the actual official like dates or anything like that, but everything seems to be getting delayed. And we spoke about this a few weeks ago. I said this was the repercussions of what was going to happen with all these strikes. We're going to start. I said I was going to start getting annoyed because we're going to be sitting there going, oh, well, this was supposed to be released next week, and now it's been pushed back, and blah blah blah. And here we are. We're seeing the results of that already. So, hopefully it doesn't get pushed back too far. I saw a meme today where they were talking about like Secret Wars getting released in like 2027, and I was like, for fuck's sake, like that is actually terrifying to think about. Like 2027, like my my stepson will be a teenager. But he'll be like, "Can we go see the movie?" He'll be asking me to go see it, So I'm like thinking, like, Jesus, like my daughter's gonna be 4. I'm gonna have to like drop her off to my parents, and like take the 3 of us will go and see the movie. I'm sure, which obviously I can't wait. Like I can't wait for him to be older and be like really. He's not really into Marvel yet. Like obviously he knows a lot of the superheroes, but he preferred to be watching cartoons. He's not really doesn't really have the attention span to sit through like fucking you know
3 hours.
2 weeks of content altogether, like what I mean. So he's not going to sit back and watch all these movies. Like I've sat him down and kind of put movies on in the background, and he kind of does like he'll watch the start of them, but he doesn't really hold the attention to finish them yet. But yeah, I'm hoping in a couple of years now he'll be really into it, like, and he'll be as chuffed as we are going to see them. Like it'll make the
Mhm.
experience even better, I think. So yeah, hopefully we're still here talking about it as well. I'd love to still be going in
Oh
4
yeah.
years time.
We'll still be here.
I think so.
I
Episode 400 or something.
I mean we just got this house. We're not leaving it.
I'm not leaving mine either, so I still plan to be streaming on Twitch and everything. So we'll see how
Yeah.
it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So
Go on.
one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the fact that like during this, and I know that you're going to start it very soon. We watched, like Katie and I watched the third episode of Loki season 2,
Mhm.
and we're like didn't really care for it. And then we like, and I'm telling you this right now, dude, and I hope you feel the same way when you start watching it. And by the way, I found a site that you can look at. Um, we watched the next episode of Jujutsu Kaisen for
Mhm.
the Shibuya Incident arc, and by the end of the episode, we were both like, "That was way better than Loki episode 3,"
Wow.
and it didn't even and it only took 18 minutes.
Wow.
Each episode
Yeah.
is like roughly 18 to 20 minutes, and that had way more interest and like development than we had ever seen in this season of Loki,
Wow.
because of the fact that like this episode, although like it's not super crazy, but it gave us a lot of fucking cliffhangers, which is so fucking good when you get like good cliffhangers.
Yeah. I love
And
cliffhangers, bro. Like it just keeps you hungry for more.
right. And the choreography in Jujutsu Kaisen is so fucking amazing. It's so good. And all the things that are going on, there's narration during the fight scene because of the things that are being explained, but it's being explained while you're watching the fight. It's not like a moment where it's like, let's take a moment and look at the board. No, it's literally like while this is happening or while this is going on, like this person did this. While this person wasn't thinking this happened. And so like we get to the point where we think that one of the characters is about to die. And at the moment they're about to strike, they're like, at that moment, this person started getting like things in his head that weren't his own memories. And we're like, what? What do you mean they're not his memories? Who the fuck put them in there? It's literally them sitting with one of the characters in the park eating sandwiches. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
Yeah.
what is happening? And then like immediately he's like, and then like it cuts to black and it's like, what the fuck? And then like you see two characters that you've seen in the past and they start walking towards like the character that you thought was going to die.
Yeah.
They're like, is he still alive? And they're like, yeah. It's like, okay, let's get him. And it's like, okay, so he's going to be fine. But like, what happened to that one guy? We were like, oh my God, was he having because they were like, if he does this for too long, he'll have thrombosis. And it's like, oh shit. And I was like, I asked Katie, I'm like, what's thrombosis? Like, oh, you like your blood vessels like clot up too much or something, or
Oh shit.
and you'll like basically you'll have like a stroke or a heart attack or something, or
Yeah.
and that's what we thought because he was like, oh, and then all of a sudden his memories popped in and it's like, what the fuck? But like the fight scene was so good because you think like each time one character looks like they have the upper hand on the other one, and then it shows like they were thinking about other things, and then like they have the upper hand, and then they have the upper hand, and it's like so fucking good, dude. Because like the way it's coordinated, it looks like they're gonna win, and then the other person looks like they're gonna win. It's so good because like it keeps you on your toes. It's like, what's gonna happen, man?
Yeah.
It's so good, and like all this like thoughtful like moments, and again the coordination of it, like the choreography, and then like the final strike that they do. So fucking good, dude. And it's like that was 18 minutes. And even Katie was like, the show has too short of episodes. They need to be hour long. I'm sick of waiting every week for this. It's so good. Like it's so good. But like we keep coming back no matter how short it is. We keep coming back because it's that fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like I kind of felt like that watching Demon Slayer as well. Like there was times where I had to watch the next episode. I was like, I cannot like stop. I have to keep going. Like it's so good. And then there's other times where you're like, that was fine. And then I'll come back in 2 days. You know?
yeah. No, and that's completely fine because like you have to have those moments. Because if you were to just keep going, you'd be done, and then you're like, well shit, now I gotta wait for the next season.
Yeah. Yo, Chillin', what's up? How are you?
What's going on, Chillin'?
Never fear, Chillin' is here. Yeah, dude, like I just like I don't know. Like this week I felt definitely Gen V. I put another poll in the chat for anybody who might be listening to this. It's at 60-40%. So I asked which show was better this week, Loki or Gen V, and Gen V's winning this week. And to be honest, I think Gen V is a way better show than Loki. I'm sorry. If that offends anybody, I'm sorry, but I really do. I really think Gen V is better than Loki. Loki is fine, and I think maybe when it's all said and done, you might be able to go back and rewatch it at a better pace, and it might be more fun and make more sense and, you know, flow better, which I think is the case with all of the MCU shows. I think they're not meant to be episodic. I think they're meant to be just, you know, release them. If it's a 6-part series, release it like 3 and 3 or 2, 2, 2, and just get it over and done with. Because they just don't work weekly. Like, you know, I'm looking at some of these episodes and it's like, like, can I find out the times?
Well, yeah, actually,
like some of the times are so short. I think this episode of Loki was it like 35 minutes or something? Like this is just like for 1 week, like, you know, I'm waiting a week to watch 35 minutes of Loki. I felt like it was so short and should have just been more, you know. And like I'm looking at the ratings here, like on IMDb, and it's like, you know, episode 1 an 8.3 out of 10 with 8,600 reviews. Then episode 2, the reviews go down to 5,100 reviews, and it's a 7.7. So that was a pretty big drop. And then episode 3, this week's episode, goes back up to an 8 out of 10, but only 3.2k, which tells me that people aren't watching it. People don't care. You know, if it's going from having like nearly 9,000 reviews in episode 1 down to 3,000, like it's gone, like they've lost nearly 60% of their reviewers just aren't going back to review the rest of the season, which kind of tells me that people are kind of dropping off. They're not really liking it.
It's
Or maybe they're just going to wait for it to finish. I wish I could. I wish I could, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, my girlfriend says it to me all the time. Like, she said, can we not let a couple build up? And I said, you know, normally I would say yes, but I run a fucking podcast and it's a weekly thing. And, you know, I have to talk about this stuff. So for the likes of this, it's like, it's not really feasible. But there's like certain shows, like there's a show on that Amazon just released. I don't know if you ever watched it. I have talked about it before. It's called Upload.
I was thinking about watching that.
It's fucking great, bro. It's really, really good. It's really funny. It's really kind of current, but very clever, but based in the future. And like, it's kind of basically when you die, you get a chance, if you're rich, to kind of upload your consciousness to this like digital heaven. So like a digital matrix. And if you've got a lot of money, you kind of live in this world with like an unlimited, it's like a phone plan. So you have like unlimited data. So you can actually just like live a full life up there. But then there's people who aren't so rich, but so they get like 2 gig plans. So you gotta kind of have to be careful with what you're doing and what you're buying when you're up there. Otherwise, if you run out of data, you kind of freeze, and then it's like you're stuck until the end of the start of the next month and stuff. So it's like a phone plan. It's very
cool.
It's very clever, man. It's very clever and it's very funny. I think season 3 just started, and like the first season, again, it was one of those shows where I think they released the first 2 seasons all at once. So it was like it was just a binge when they came out. And we loved it. Like we watched the first season in like a day. Like it was so good. Like I just couldn't put it down. And then the season 2 was kind of similar. Like it was, again, like we kind of maybe spread it out over a couple of days, but it was, again, just so good. But now this season they released 2 episodes at the start, and now it's like kind of going into a weekly thing. So I'm kind of like, fuck this. So what I might do is I might let like maybe 4 build up and then watch them.
Sounds good. Yeah.
For a show like that, I can do that. But for something like Gen V or Loki or something, I'm like, I have to watch it every week. Like I can't come live on this podcast and be like, yeah, I'm letting like 3 episodes build up. So I'll talk to you in 3 weeks about Loki.
Well, I mean, we could essentially do that, but like, yeah, I agree with you that because we're in a podcast, we really need to keep ourselves from like missing out on the current content. Because if we do anything, if we wait any longer, then it's like, yeah, we already watched that in different reviews. We don't care. So I totally understand how you feel about that.
Yeah, and like it doesn't really work. Now I know, like, because I've had so many people come to me and say, "Oh, look, I can't listen to your podcast yet because I haven't watched that show." And I'm like, "Okay, look, yeah, if you're going to watch a replay, that's cool. Like, let me know what you think or whatever." So like, you know, obviously there's a lot of people that don't listen to this live, that don't watch the replay straight away because they haven't watched the show, and that's fair enough. But I kind of feel because we're the one recording it, we kind of have to have it out as soon as possible for people that are watching it straight away. Like, you know, Loki came out like 3 days ago. You know, we're recording. I think we're recording this late. You know, like that's the way I look at it. You know what I mean? Like, and I can only imagine what if I wanted to wait like 2 or 3 weeks. I can't even imagine what it'd be like for me trying to go onto like Twitter or like, you know, Instagram or TikTok or any of these sites, or watch like a Den of Nerds stream or anything like that. Like I have to kind of stay away from the Den of Nerds for a day until I watch the latest episode of Loki, because I know he's going to go hard on it straight away, and I'm just going to get completely spoiled if I go into his next stream, because he's just breaking the whole thing down, like, you know, a couple of hours after it's aired here. So I'm just like, oh, I can't watch his stream the next day. So yeah, like, you know, we have to be on it straight away.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know how your scheduling is, but in terms of like what I do on the weekend, it's a lot easier for me to just like, even if I'm on call, I could just let it sit. But I'm more than willing to like do like whatever day that they have their showing, like we can watch it and then like try to do a podcast on the day. But we could talk about this offline. But like there's all kinds of ways we could probably work around it. The only thing that I'm concerned about is like my on call, which is annoying.
So for me, like the time zones for us is very difficult during the week, because you know, what time is it for you right now? It's like
It
three
is
45 or something.
3. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 11:45 for me right now. So
Right.
if we did a thing where on a Wednesday, you wanted to sit down and do a fresh review of Loki, I would have to be watching it. Like, I don't usually get a chance to watch the show until about like 8 p.m. my time, on
Mhm.
Wednesday. And then, I might go to the gym, then I come home and I'd maybe do a stream or something like that. So I could sacrifice my stream, but when I'm doing my stream, you're usually working. So it just wouldn't work, bro. It wouldn't work because I presume you're not going to be available to have a sit down and a chat during the week on a Wednesday until probably like what, 6 p.m. your time, 7 p.m. your time.
Like I said, it depends on if I'm on call. If I'm on call, then it's like 6 p.m. If I'm not on call, it's 2 p.m., which would be like 10 p.m. your time.
Okay, so you're actually finished your normal working day at 2 p.m.
Normal working day, not on call, 2 p.m. That would
Okay.
be like, so that's what I'm saying is like we could essentially like make it work.
Ooh,
It's
that
just
that
when
is
I'm on
interesting.
it's just when I'm on call, we would have to move it to like the weekend just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Though that's pretty interesting because I don't know. I thought for some reason that you worked until like 6 p.m. your time, which would be like stupid o'clock in the morning for me. So,
Yeah, no, I get you.
that's interesting. And like I've always kind of thought what might be a nice thing to do as well. And feel free to do this if you want, but you have access to this software and stuff. So if you ever wanted to do your own reviews for stuff and just upload it to the channel, like go for it. Like if you ever wanted to go live and talk about an anime thing or whatever, something that I'm not watching, like, I don't have
Mhm.
to be on every single podcast episode. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could potentially do stuff without me. Like, so or even like not like a live broadcast, but like you can record something and just upload it and do
Mhm.
like quick 10-minute reviews of shows that I'm not watching or something, just to keep other people interested. Like if it's anime and you want Andre to be interested in it, or if it's something that I'm not into that you're really into and you want to talk about it, like do it. This is your podcast as well, so I feel like if you wanted to do that, just kind of try and reach out to more of your core audience, go for it. No, why not?
I'll see what I could do. I'm not a big talker. I really like conversing with you mostly.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's hard for me to think about going on my own.
Yeah, like I'm kind of the same, to be honest. Like, if I wanted to put out a quick kind of 10-minute video on something that like, I was passionate about myself, I kind of do that stuff when I'm kind of live streaming anyway. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm kind of
Yeah.
just shooting the shit when I'm live anyway over on Twitch. And then if it's something that's really good, I might clip it out and throw it up on my own YouTube channel or something. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of everything that I watch, I feel like you watch as well. So it kind of just makes sense for us to do it here, you know? But if you go back
I,
on the channel, like I know, like myself and Hoffman, we did like kind of breakdowns of individual episodes of like Boba Fett
yeah.
outside of the podcast, and we did like visions outside of the podcast and stuff. So that stuff's fun. Like I do enjoy doing that, but I don't know. I find that kind of live conversation, like the whole podcast format, to be
It's
better.
fun, man. I love
Yeah,
the dynamic of it.
yeah, it is. It is fun, and like I do want to like start trying to get a few more guests on as well. Like I've got my friend who's the actor who I really want to get on. It's about finding time for him to come on. I think that'd be a really good episode though. It'd be a lot of fun. There's
Yeah.
another dude who I've come in contact with lately, who's an Irish dude who has a TikTok channel, who he goes around like reviewing cinemas and stuff like that. He's really kind of like we're back and forward, like in comments to each other, and he started following me and stuff like that. So I might drop the line to him and say, like, oh look, I'm doing a podcast if you ever want to come on, because he watches all the shows and shit. But like he's doing a really cool series where he's going around and reviewing all the cinemas in Dublin, and he's like doing a ranking and stuff. But like
Yeah.
his videos get a lot of views, like it's crazy. So like he does these videos where like he's getting like 10, 12, 15,000 likes on these videos where he's just like sitting in the cinema. And like I said to him, I was like, have you been to the cinema that I go to? And he's like, oh yeah, I went. I didn't really like it. I was like, what are you talking about, bro? It's like, what? I was like, it's the best cinema in the country. Like, what are you talking about? And I found out that he didn't go to the IMAX screen. So I was like, I kept saying on
Mm.
all of his videos, I kept saying to him, bro, when are you going back to the IMAX? You have to go back. And then he went back and did the thing. And I commented on it straight away, because he was like, straight away, he moved that cinema to the top of the queue. He's like, this is the best cinema in Dublin. Like, this is the best screen. And I said to him, I just wrote back straight away. And I went, I told you so. And he was like, bro, you did. You told me straight away. And I said, look, they've got the best food. It's the best screen. It's the best sound. Fucking every seat is a recliner. I said, it is the best cinema experience ever. And
So
he
so
was like, "Yeah, you're right."
essentially so essentially you're like, stop sitting in shite, get on the IMAX.
Well, I don't know what he was doing, but the day he went there, he went to like one of the small screens. I don't know if he was obviously seeing a movie because obviously he does a lot of movie reviews as well. So obviously he goes to see everything. But like he's gotten to a stage now where he got an invite to go see that new Martin Scorsese film, the one the Wallflower or whatever
Oh,
it's called.
yeah,
He, he
I gotta watch that.
he was invited to the premiere of that, so like his channel is like starting to get like pretty big. Like so,
That's
I think
great.
he'd be a really cool guest to get on. I think one of the days if we could, like I might try and plant the seed and see can we get him. But
That'd be
I'd love to
fun.
do that. Yeah, I'd love to do that. I think Kyle's going to come back hopefully at some point.
I would love for Kyle to come back.
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool. So that might be happening. So that could be a cool episode as well. And I have this feeling, bro. I have this feeling that like Hoffman might come back around. I don't know. Like I was talking to him during the week, and like I don't know if you were in his stream the other day, but he bought me a present, and he was like, "I have to send you something. I bought you a housewarming gift for your house." So I was like, "What the fuck?" Like I was like, I just raided him after I finished my stream, and I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, he nearly had me in tears. I was like, "You bought me a present?" I was like, "What the fuck? Like what the hell?" And he's like, He's like, he said he was at a con or something, and he's like, "I saw this thing, and I had to buy it for you for your house." And he's like, "I bought it like a year ago, and I haven't sent it or anything." And I was like, "What the fuck?" So he's like, "Yeah, look, just that's how busy he's been, like, and that's how kind of upside down his life has been, and which is why he's not here anymore." But
Mhm.
um, he was like, do you want me to show it to you or do you want it to be a surprise? And I was like, whip it out, go on, like, get it, like, let's show everybody here in the stream. And it was like this crazy, like, Spider-Man print that was signed by the artist who made it. And it was like kind of like a, a Peter Parker standing there, but like it was like split into different sections, kind of like a clock or whatever. And it was all these
Mhm.
different variants of Peter Parker Spider-Man. And like it just looks amazing, dude. And
That sounds awesome.
yeah, so he's like, I got to get that over to you. So hopefully, when I get it, I'm going to display it in this room somewhere. So I'm thinking of moving this room around a bit so that like the camera face is on the back wall here. So you see all my shit and my guitars and stuff like that. And I'll probably just hang it in between my two guitars or something like so. I'll make a space for it, but yeah, it'll be fucking sick, dude.
Sounds great.
So yeah, like look, for anybody who, because I have been asked about, like a lot of people have come into my gaming streams like, oh, when's Hoffman coming back on the podcast? And it's a sore subject. I don't really like talking about it, but because I do miss him very much. But fingers crossed, we get him back someday. I think when he starts to kind of settle down and get back into his flow of things, I think we could potentially see him back at some point. I'd
We
even
need
love to
a
just I'd even love to just record some offline stuff with him and just throw up some like Spotify exclusive shit with him or something. Do
Oh
something
yeah.
like to try and get people over to the Spotify or something like that. Hashtag ad go to the Spotify. Well, yeah, like seriously, like I'd love to do something with him, like because I know his schedule's all over the place now, but
Yeah,
it'd
and
be it'd be nice.
we definitely need our strongest Avenger back.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like you'll see, like even like when we do the starting soon shit, like this thing, he's still there. Look at him over there in the
Oh
corner.
yeah.
He's still there. I have full faith that he will return. I just don't know when. Yeah, man.
Sounds good, buddy.
Yeah. Look, we're about to hit the hour and a half. I don't really think there's anything else to talk about this week. But to recap, Loki, Alex hated it. I actually liked this episode, but it wasn't amazing. And the whole show has just been kind of meh, you know? And Gen V's been fucking fantastic. I love
Yeah,
her.
it's been pretty good.
Yeah, it really has. And I'm very excited to see what comes next in that and how they're going to hand over to The Boys season 4. The fact that they've gotten the renewal for season 2 as well speaks volumes to me. Like, it tells me that there's a lot of people watching it. There's a lot of hype for it. There's a lot of want for it, which is great. So, guys, we'll
Yep.
be back next week. We're going to talk about Loki episode 4, Gen V episode 7, any other nerdy news in between. And I'm sure I'll be fanboying over Spider-Man some more as well. So, yeah, if you want to watch any of that gameplay, you can head over to my Twitch or you can watch them on my YouTube channel as well, Finto182. Anyway, guys, take it easy. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.